In this video, I'm going to show you how you can scale any online business to $10,000 per month in revenue without running any ads or relying on referrals, alright? So, first things first, if you're running an online coaching business, that means that for most of you, the biggest problem is going to be client acquisition, alright? Especially in the beginning. That's because if you're running a coaching business, means that most likely you are running some done with you offer or do it yourself offer, where you don't do so much of the service. You're more relying on people to just trust you, apply your knowledge, and do it themselves. All right. Now this is great, but it's gonna be harder for you to sell this than in comparison from some like done for you service where people just have to pay you and you do it all by yourself. All right. So this is the biggest problem, and that's why I'm going to be focusing this video primarily on client acquisition, because the service delivery side is pretty straightforward, and if you are already a coach, that means you can know how to deliver stuff, alright? So the two most important things in client acquisition is outreach and content, alright? In the beginning, yes, there are ads that you can run, yes, there are affiliates that you can use, but in the beginning, I'll just focus on these two, okay? Outreach and content. So if you are doing anything else than this in the beginning, when you don't have stable clientele, when you still don't have any referrals coming to you, you should just focus on these two things, alright? Now, the most important thing here is that the outreach should be done simultaneously with the content, right? Many people do the mistake that they just rely on the outreach and then they hope to somehow automate it or somehow just get clients even more from that method. But what is the best method to do it is by doing those two things in parallel, right? So that you are doing outreach, which in the beginning works way faster than the content, because with the content it takes a long time before you can start getting any inbound leads, right? So in the beginning, you're just doing the outreach side where you're just trying to move the needle forward, start getting leverage, start getting momentum. And once you have the momentum, you insert the content in there as well and start pushing out the content. Now it basically doubles the amount of results you're going to get long term. But for content, it takes way longer to get this running, right? So it can take even like 6 months of work for it to even start yielding any results. So that's why in the beginning, you should focus on outreach, optimize, figure out what outreach will work for you. Is it Instagram outreach? Is it cold email? Is it cold calling? Select one system, implement it, start getting clients from this as primary method, and in the meantime, start posting on social media, right? So this can be YouTube, this can be Instagram, this can be Twitter, any platform that your ideal clients hang out on, and then you focus on the content, because the content in the end is a way more effective way to get more clients, right? Because it helps you build trust between you and the potential customer, as well as target way more people, because outreach is one-to-one and content is one-to-many, right? So you can get infinite leverage with content. The one piece of content you put out, there can be millions of people watching that, right? So these are the two primary things you should focus on in the beginning. And how you can structure it is, for example, if you have a holiday of trying to get more clients, right? Let's say that in the morning, 8 to 10, you should focus just on outreach, right? So what I would even recommend you in the beginning, try to do some personalized outreach, try to really figure out what seems to be working before you start scaling it up, right? Many people just see volume as the ultimate solution to outreach, but in many cases, people just have no idea how to get clients with outreach. And if you, for example, if I show you, if you start sending 100 messages on Instagram, let's say, okay, just from our account, and these 100 messages equal into, I don't know, let's say 0 booked calls, alright? 0 calls. Then you just say, oh, alright, let me just try to do 1,000 of these, alright? And what do you think will happen if you, instead of hundreds and thousands, alright? You might get some appointments, but you are gonna be so much inefficient that it's just gonna cost you a lot of time, a lot of effort and money. before you can get any decent KPIs. So instead of just solving your problems with volume, what you should first do is just get a proof of concept, alright? So in outreach, there is this saying that you should establish proof of concept before you establish scale, alright? So proof of concept in outreach means that you should get at least every 100 messages, you should get at least 1% appointment booking rate, alright? ABR. Now, so that means that every 100 messages you send, you get at least one appointment out of that. So that you have at least some relevant number that you can then apply to scale. Because with outreach, if you apply scale, nothing changes, right? You just, for example, let's say you have one account, and then you insert second account, right? So from one appointment per day, you start sending another 100, right? So in total, that's 200 messages sent per day, and you get 2 appointments, right? So this is how then scale this up. Instead of sending 100 in the beginning, not investing any time into developing better scripts, seeing where's the problem, getting 0, then trying to apply volume, another account would also yield 0, right? Maybe if you send 1,000 messages with one appointment. But you see, like if you build up the fundamentals and the foundations of the outreach system, then you can apply scale to it, and then you can get 100 times better results, because in this scenario, you might get like 1 or 2 appointments once you send 1,000 messages. In this scenario, if you send 1,000 messages, you get 10 appointments per day, right? So these are like completely different numbers. But you can only arrive to this by focusing on the foundations of the outreach. That means optimizing your profile, optimizing your messaging, optimizing your lead quality, optimizing the appointment booking, the whole appointment booking workflow, how you get someone from stranger to client, right? How to approach sales calls, things like that. So what I try to emphasize here is that don't rush it. I see so many clients coming to me and they want to get results now. They want to send 100,000 messages now, but they have no proof of concept, right? And what then happens in some cases, I just quickly move this. What then happens is that they want to send 100,000 DMs per month, right? And this costs them like $1,000, $2,000 even to run like per monthly basis. And they can be booking, like if they have no proof of concept, maybe they don't even have like a many clients. What happens is that they just end up like spamming people with an offer that they don't know if they are interested in, and they maybe get like, I don't know, like 1, 2, 3 calls a day, right? Like you can say to yourself, okay, this is amazing, right? But if you are sending 100,000 DMs, like you could be booking like hundreds of calls literally if you just focus on the foundations initially. So really, if you are just starting this out, starting to think about how do I do outreach, don't just focus on the numbers right away. Focus on the proof of concept, alright? So this in action means you, for example, if you want to do Instagram outreach from your account, these two things actually complement each other so much, because you're going to be putting out more content on the site, on the Instagram page, and in the meantime you are also going to do outreach from the profile. So people you reach out to, what they do before they reply to you, they click on our profile, and if they already see you being active, they might watch some of your videos, and they even might convert into like an inbound client, right? So this is inbound, right? Now, the primary method is still going to be outbound, but this helps tremendously with building that trust, because if you are doing a special cold outbound, the hardest thing to overcome is the trust, because you reaching out to some stranger is very hard to convert them into then someone who is willing to pay you money, right? So, as I established, what you should do is, for example, pick a platform, like I said, Instagram, Twitter, wherever, focus on wherever your niche hangs out in, alright? And then focus on the content that the platform allows. So, that, for many of you, is going to be either video content or a text-based content. Now, so let's say you are a coach that's trying to get clients on Instagram. So what do, right? You start reaching out to people on Instagram. You have about 50 to 70 DMs, all right, per day. Now, this should be your priority. You should send out the maximum amount of messages you can per day, and in the meantime, you start putting 1 to 2 pieces of content per day, right? And what this will do is that in the beginning, you will only get a lot of traction from the content itself, right? You might not get many people coming to you asking you for help, but what you will do is more like 50 to 70 new people are gonna see this, right? They are gonna see this because they are at least gonna click on a profile in many cases. Maybe it's not 50, maybe it's like 25, alright? And out of those 25, you have much higher chance to get a reply if they see that you are, first of all, active, that you post things about yourself, you look like a human, you know what you are talking about, and you are posting some relevant content that provides free value, right? And this is what you should focus on in the content. Don't really try to be the next Iman Gadzhi, or don't even try to sell as much on these platforms. Like for example, in my case, I'm not selling almost anything in my YouTube videos, on Instagram, anywhere, right? What I'm just trying to do is provide free value. Free value, and this is so important because if you help someone before they pay you, they are just like basically sold whenever they come to you on a call, and they will come eventually, right? So you are trying to overshare, and you are trying to share as much value as possible again that you know that other people are charging for. And when those people see that, they will then start watching more of your content, and if they watch more of your content, they get more nurtured, alright? If you put out this 1 or 2 pieces of content per day, you get in their heads pretty quickly, right? So let's say you just put out like 1 video per day on Instagram, and you put out like at least 1 story or 2 stories, right? So your followers are gonna constantly see every day on their feed, their stories, and they are gonna think about it. Okay, so this guy is providing this free value, right? I find it pretty valuable, and like what do they do, right? It only takes time. This is the only thing, right? So in the beginning, you may not see many results, but this is the whole process. You are just building up this momentum because these people, they are still not convinced in the beginning, but as months go by, they watch more and more of your content, and they become more and more familiar with you. And then whenever the situation is right for them, they know who to come to buy the stuff that they need, right? Now the outreach, this is gonna support it so much because in the beginning it's hard to get tractions by the content. You might get like 100 views, 200 views, 1,000 views, right? It's not anything amazing. So the outreach is first of all gonna get you more clients through just sending them your offer to your services to the relevant prospects that you target. Second of all, you're gonna get way more credibility if you put out any content in the meantime. And third of all, you're gonna get more calls out of the outreach because this is, I would call it as a band-aid, right? Outreach will not be, or like doesn't have to be your primary method of acquisition long term. This is only in the beginning 6 to 12 months, or maybe even 2 years. Like if you are getting like crazy results with outreach, like stick with it. I don't judge you, I don't tell anything, but for most of you, what outreach is gonna do is in the beginning, they're gonna get you more clients, that means more testimonials, that means more experience, and that means more conviction on the sales goal. So it's also gonna get you more results and more pieces of content in the end, because if you then start sharing like client testimonials that come from outreach, then that boosts you the content as well, right? So you see how this all comes together. And so the priority, outreach, content, right? Now, to get to $10,000, this is basically everything you need to do. You don't have to build fancy websites. You don't have to either focus on some designing. You just have to put out volume, right? With outreach, I recommend you to establish proof of concept first with the content. Just try and go and see what works, alright? With the content, don't focus as much on the video editing and the flashy stuff in the beginning. What I found out is that people who are gonna buy from you, they don't care about the edits as much. They just care about the core value of the thing that you are talking about, right? And that is what I mentioned before. So let me just delete this site. And so what do people care about in the content? So many of you probably seen videos of Mr. Beast telling you that you should focus on CTR and retention, right? This is what everybody chases on YouTube, even on Instagram, things like that. Now, this is great if you are an entertainer, if you are trying to amount this huge audience, but there's a concept called 1,000 true fans, alright? And that states that you don't have to get millions and millions of people following you, you just have to get these 1,000 true fans, alright? And these are the people that are gonna buy from you, right? And if you are putting out content for them instead of for the masses, your content might not get as much views, because if you are putting out content for the masses, you're putting out something that's broad, less actionable advice, it's more clickbaity stuff, it's more editing, less value shared, right? If you are putting out the stuff for the 1,000 true fans, you're just essentially putting out free value, right? Now, what both of these methods actually like is that if you put out something personal, right? This is gonna complement both of them, because people really like seeing you as a person, not as some robot that's making these videos, right? So that's great if you, for example, do a YouTube where you provide free value, and on Instagram and these other platforms, you share more of yourself, right? And what this will do is that people then will see you more as a person, they will relate to you even more, and then they will watch your stuff even more. So let's stick with this theory with 1,000 true fans. Now, your priority should be to provide as much as free value as possible. You don't have to buy fancy cameras, you don't have to buy fancy setups, microphones, I don't know, some editing software, some like thumbnail designers. It doesn't matter, because the 1,000 true fans are gonna watch your stuff anyways, right? That's the whole point, because these guys, they're just interested in whatever you put out. And essentially, in most cases, these true fans are just people just like you, right? They are very similar to you, and this is who you are recording the videos for. I'm recording all my videos for my past self that would really value what I'm talking about right now. And this is what you should focus on. So ask yourself, what have I, like 1, 2, 3 years ago, would need? Well, what type of content would I need in order to get faster to the place I want to be, right? And this is exactly what they are doing. This is why you don't need to be the best of the best in order to share value. Because in some cases, people will appreciate much more from content from someone that can relate to them more, that they find value, and that they can relate to them and see them as this person, right? Because if you're seeing these gurus, these people that are driving these Lamborghinis, that are wearing these fancy watches, you don't really relate to them as much. You just envy them in most cases, right? So the 1,000 true fans is a really powerful concept. So if those 1,000 people, even if they pay you $100 per year, you still get about $100,000 per year, which is not bad, which is almost the number that you that you would be getting, like $10,000 per month on average. If you are in the coaching business, the biggest problem is that in most cases you're just gonna sell like a one-time thing, right? You are not gonna likely retain the people for as long, because in most cases you're just selling them information, and they are not gonna pay you thousands of dollars per month when you give them access to that information in the first month, right? So that means that you either have to figure out a way how to retain those people, or you just have to acquire more people, right? And that's why this whole client acquisition thing is so important for online coaches, especially because You're just not gonna retain, like, client to you is not worth the same as for an agency in many cases. But what's so great about the coaching business model is that your service delivery doesn't have to be so hard. So you don't have to focus as much on the delivery as, for example, like a done for you agency would. Right? So let me show you how you would structure your whole service delivery side so that you can free up the time to just focus on the client acquisition. Now, and this is what most gurus are doing. Anyways, so just clean this up. Now, let's focus on the service delivery. So, service delivery. This is important to discuss for online coaches as well, because this is where you're gonna free up so much time, so that you can insert into the client acquisition process. So, service delivery. How do you structure a coaching business, right? So the core value should be the coaching itself, and you can do this in two ways. You can do it in one-on-one, or you can do it in group. Now, the one-on-one is going to hold more value than the group, right? So, in the beginning, if you are still not that popular and you cannot really decline too many people, I would stick with the one-on-one in the beginning. But at the same time, you can complement it and do both of them, right? So this is so great. So, for example, to onboard someone into coaching program, they get access to a group of people, let's say 100 people. And so they get access to you one-on-one, and at the same time, you maybe host group calls once a week where you talk to all these 100 people and you add additional value to all of them. So this is how you do it, right? Now, if you have a really big program, there's going to be much less time for you to invest into one-on-one with every one of these members, right? So in the beginning, if you have, let's say, less than 100 members, you can offer this as a part of the program, the one-on-one type, and then once you pass the number, you might either have someone replace you that will be taking all one-on-ones, or you just have more additional value in the group, because when you already have 100 people in the program, you have a much additional value, because what you are doing is you are building the network effect, right? So every additional member adds value to the group. This is what you are trying to achieve. So you are trying to onboard people and then convince them to share value with others. And what they are going to be doing, essentially the same thing as you would be doing. They are going to be sharing value, right? And they are going to increase the value of the program. So, for example, in many cases, you're just going to have some entrance price, right? So one-time fee, right? And this is going to be the fee that covers the whole program, because I've not seen many programs get well just from charging monthly retaining fees, because in many cases, what you also get access in coaching is you get access to information, right? You get access to information, and once the people pay that, they get access to all of it, right? If you just have some, let's say, $100 per month model, this doesn't really then work, right? Because most people are just then gonna take the information, take what they can from the group. They're gonna get on as many calls as they can in the first month, and they're gonna churn, right? Then they are gonna churn most likely. Now there is a way to run this where you charge like $100 per month, but that is when you don't include the one-on-ones in, because it just doesn't make sense for you to host one-on-ones when people are paying you just $100 a month. This is, for example, if you know Hamza Ahmed, this is his community called, what's it called? Adonis School. This is exactly the business model that he has. He has the information, he has the courses that he doesn't have on YouTube. He has the group calls that he hosts, and he has the community, which is probably the most valuable thing in them, to be honest. So these are the three value drivers that he gets, and he is just trying to make people pay $100 a month every single month. Like, but this is very hard to convince people to pay every single month that $100. You, like for example, for him, he's hosting like 6 to 7 group calls per week, right? So then you need to think about like, how do I convince people to pay me every single month? Now, so that's why I say that for many people, it's gonna be better to just I don't know, have like a price tag of $3,000 one time fee, and you only get people that are serious, right? But like the 3,000 is just an imaginary. For many of you, this is going to be irrelevant. For some of you, this might be relevant, right? But then you can go with the one-on-one, and the group becomes way more valuable because it will only consist of people that already have invested $3,000, right? So if you invest in $3,000 into something, that means that you sure as hell are gonna try to make it work, right? So that means that people are gonna try harder to get value out of the group, start posting. They are gonna try harder, apply our information that you give out to them, and they are gonna try harder, consume your information. And what it's gonna lead into? That's gonna lead into better results. Why is that? Because people have more emotional investment into it, and they are way more likely to make it work. And the group will become more valuable because instead of them paying $100 a month, the price tag that almost anyone can afford, you only get to see people that already have some type of money. So if you are trying to build this private coaching program, like with people that at least have some sort of business, when they invest $3,000 or $5,000, $10,000, I don't know how much they're charging, then you get way more quality people. But like these are the two models, right? The pay per month type model where you don't have one-on-ones, or one-time fee model where you just pay one time and then they get all the value. Now, there are a couple of differences when you're trying to sell these, right? So let's break it down, right? So let's think about if you want to go with a small ticket per month price, because like these people are gonna pay you $1,200 a year, right? And these ones are only gonna pay you the 3,000 once. And this is why I told you why client acquisition is so important, because you sell most of these people once, and then you don't have any recurring revenue, right? So you need to constantly acquire new clients. So with this one, it's way easier for you to sell because many people are just gonna go and purchase from the website and pay the $100, but they are just not gonna do it from some random freak that like outreaches them, right? You need to have a brand if you want to sell this, and this is great for people that have brand because they can just promote this to many people, and they don't even have to worry about the sales. They don't have to take sales calls because like nobody takes sales calls for $100, right? And then they can get thousands of people into this, right? And if you get 1,000 members like Hamza has, you have $100,000 per month business. So for him, this makes real much sense because this is his target audience, right? He makes videos for the people that don't have much money. They would not be able to afford this $3,000 ticket price, so he would not be able to sell them. On the other side, let's say that you are a coach that's targeting some, let's say, owners or CEOs, right? Maybe you have a coach program for CEOs of some, I don't know, bigger valuation companies. Then for them, it doesn't make sense to pay $100 for them. They are gonna think that that's just a garbage program, right? So you always need to think about what's your target audience and how, like, what's the budget that they have, and then adjust based on that. Then choose the model based on that, right? To CEOs, they probably won't give a fuck about you trying to sell them something for $100. they will not see the value behind it. But instead, if you sell them something for higher ticket, and if you sell something for that is more expensive, you can provide way more value inside, right? Because you get that money up front that you can invest into more quality information, more quality resources, right? More quality group members, because these group members are already going to pay for it, and on and on. So this was the brief description of how to scale online business, online coaching business to $10,000 a month. I described to how to acquire clients, what should you focus on, and why is it so important, especially for a coaching business. And then we have laid out the two paths that you can take, and this always depends on the audience that you have, right? So you first need to focus on your niche, where they hang out, what do they like to consume in the client acquisition side. Then on the service delivery side, what's the budget that they are willing to pay, right? What makes sense for them. And if you are targeting these people, then you don't have to target 1,000 true fans. Then you can just go broad, right? Then you can build broad brand. And if you are for just targeting on smaller group of people, then you can go with 1,000 true fans. True fans, right? So these are the options. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give me a like. And let me know in the description if you like this type of videos. And I'll see you in the next one.